Why you forget names, but remember faces. You meet someone at a party. You talk for 10 minutes. You will forget their name within an hour, but you'll recognize their face for the rest of your life. This isn't a flaw. It's a feature. Your brain evolved this way on purpose. Most people think memory works like a filing cabinet. File things away, remember them later. But that's not how brains work. Your brain doesn't store information equally. It prioritizes. And for thousands of years, knowing someone's face mattered. Knowing their name did not. Think about what your ancestors actually needed. You're walking through a forest. You see a face. Is this person a friend or a stranger? Did you trade with them last season? Are they from a rival tribe? Your survival depended on answering this question in milliseconds. Your brain became obsessed with faces. It allocated enormous processing power to them. But names? Names are a recent invention. Writing is only 5,000 years old. Formal names as we know them are even newer. Most humans who ever lived had no written name at all. They were the one with the scar, or the tall one, or she from the valley. Names didn't matter. Faces did. This is why face recognition is automatic. It's unconscious. You see a face, and your brain immediately springs into action. But learning a name requires effort. It feels like work because it is work. You're forcing your brain to do something it wasn't designed to do. Here's the strange part. You might not remember the name, but your brain does. Neuroscientist Daniel Shatter at Harvard studied this phenomenon. When people claimed they couldn't remember a name, Shatter showed them the person's face alongside several other faces. Participants recognized the correct face with 85% accuracy. The name was registered in their brain somewhere. It just wasn't accessible. Think about how your brain stores faces. The fusiform face area, a region deep in your temporal lobe, contains roughly 200 million neurons dedicated almost entirely to face processing. 200 million neurons. This region processes faces so efficiently that you can recognize someone even if you've only seen them once. Even in poor lighting. Even if they've aged 10 years. Compare this to names. Names are stored in language areas. Broca's area. Wernicke's area. These regions process all language. They're not specialized for names. They don't have billions of neurons dedicated just to storing the label John. Your brain treats a name the same way it treats any other arbitrary word. Have you ever noticed something strange? You remember a face, but you can't attach the name until someone says it. Then suddenly it clicks. The name floods back. This is called priming. Hearing the name triggers the memory. But the name wasn't lost. It was there. Your brain just didn't prioritize retrieving it. Psychologist William Hockley from McMaster University ran an experiment. He showed participants faces paired with names. Later, he tested recognition. When participants saw the same face again, they remembered it 70% of the time. When they saw the same name again, they only remembered it 40% of the time. Faces crush names in memory tests, even though people spent equal time looking at both. Why is this? Evolution. Your brain evolved in a world where faces were everything. You needed to remember who tried to kill you last month. You needed to recognize your family members from far away. You needed to identify sexual partners, allies, and enemies. Natural selection built a face recognition supercomputer inside your skull. But names were arbitrary sounds someone made up recently. They didn't matter to survival, so your brain never invested in them. Here's what happens when you meet someone new. Your face recognition system fires up instantly. It scans for distinctive features. A birthmark, an unusual eye color, a scar, facial structure, bone geometry. These features are encoded into a facial template in your brain. That template is compared against thousands of faces you've already met. Is this a new face? An old face you haven't seen in years? Meanwhile, the person is saying their name. Your auditory cortex processes the sound. The language centers briefly register it. But there's no special encoding happening. Your brain isn't running it through a specialized name processing area because no such area exists. The name just sits in short-term memory, and short-term memory leaks. Unless you do something intentional. If you repeat the name, if you use it in conversation, if you think about it deeply, John, like my brother John, then you move it to long-term memory. But this requires effort, active work. Here's the problem. When you meet someone, your brain is simultaneously processing dozens of pieces of information. You're scanning their face. You're monitoring their body language. You're listening to their tone of voice. You're evaluating whether they're a threat. You're gauging social status. You're probably also thinking about yourself. In all that chaos, a name is just noise. Your brain deprioritizes it. But a face cuts through everything. Face recognition happens automatically, in parallel with everything else. Your brain can process a face while simultaneously thinking about dinner, planning tomorrow, and monitoring the room for threats. Faces are processed pre-attentively. Names require attention. This explains why you can recognize thousands of faces but struggle to remember hundreds of names. Your brain allocated a disproportionate amount of neural real estate to facial recognition, and almost nothing to name storage. Neuroscientist James Haxby at Dartmouth ran brain scans while people learned faces paired with names. The fusiform face area lit up brilliantly when processing faces. But when processing the same name, the activity was scattered across multiple regions. Weak, diffuse, unfocused. Here's what changed everything: technology, writing, photography, social media. For the first time in human history, we needed to remember names. We needed to file them away, retrieve them months later, and keep them straight with no visual aid. Your brain wasn't ready. So most people struggle. Evolution optimized you to remember faces. It didn't optimize you to remember arbitrary labels. You were built for a world that no longer exists. The real question is, what does this tell us about human nature?